Today's video is about my opinions on this one video I found by Bodyposipanda, which is about how cellulite is not a flaw.
So what is cellulite?
So I did a bit of research on cellulite, and the definition of it is lumpy, dimpled flesh that happens when fat cells accumulate, push up against your skin, and then the connective tissue that holds your skin together pulls down. So the fat is pushing up and the tissue is pulling down. So then it creates the dimpled effect that you see. In and of itself, mild cellulite is not harmful. It won't do anything, like it's not painful or dangerous at all. However, I did find that there are 3 different kinds of cellulite. The first one is the soft cellulite, which is what I was talking about. It's harmless. It doesn't really pose any medical dangers to anybody. It's because of a lack of muscle tone and possibly having a little more fat on you than your ideal body weight suggests. The second kind of cellulite is edematous cellulite. Basically means that you have poor circulation, which is caused by significant fluid retention, and that kind of cellulite is painful when touched. So I can imagine most of the time cellulite occurs on your thighs or like your hip area. So I can imagine if you have this edematous cellulite, that if you wear like jeans or anything that is touching your legs all the time, it's probably pretty painful. So I would guess that this level of cellulite is probably not something that you want to ignore, or also something that you don't want the soft cellulite to turn into. Third level, which is hard cellulite. And this is from a significant lack of physical activity. So like if you're just sitting around, if you don't even get up off whatever you're sitting on, like the bed-bound people, basically, this probably happens to them. So, and being extremely overweight does contribute to this as well. So, and then this kind of cellulite is possibly permanent if not treated. The soft cellulite is just a small lack of muscle tone, so that'll go away if you do a little bit of exercise. Once it gets more serious, though, and the edematous, you can still get rid of it if you just do some physical activity. However, the hard cellulite, if you let it get out of hand, it will become permanent, and it is painful, and it is not good for you.
Your body is a vehicle that lets you live. Doesn't matter if it has some lumps and bumps on the outside of it.
I don't understand why this Bodyposipanda person is saying to just completely ignore it, because I think that that's misinformation that is potentially dangerous to people, and I'm not a fan of when people do that. I'm not a fan of when people tell the general populace on the internet that things are, to just ignore things on you and just, let them get out of hand and get out of control. And I also did a little more research about cellulite, because there is something that I saw on 600 Pound Life where one of the patients had these big, like, yellow blisters all over his legs. When Dr. No described it, seemed like it was caused by cellulite, because it was something about his legs not draining properly, which is probably the edematous cellulite, because it's caused by significant fluid retention. So he had excess fluid in his legs that wasn't draining properly because his body wasn't functioning properly. And so it turned into cellulitis, I'm guessing. And the definition is potentially dangerous bacterial infection that affects the deeper layers of the skin and the subcutaneous tissue, which is the tissue where the cellulite lives. So like when the fat cells accumulate and then the connective tissue pulls down, that's the subcutaneous tissue. So
Cellulite is not a medical condition or an indicator of health.
Even though the websites I went to didn't really say cellulite causes cellulitis or cellulite can turn into cellulitis. The fact that both of these words have the same base kind of makes me guess that they could be, like, you could get cellulitis if you have too much cellulite, so keeping your cellulite in check is probably recommended.
One of them was selling this weird thing that looked like a tree branch with little suction pads on it that you just like hit your cellulite with and try to get rid of it like that. Like, what the fuck is that?
I'm not saying that you need to get obsessed over it and get, you know, those weird things Bodyposipanda was talking about where you're like a stick with a thing that you rub on your leg. Like, you don't need to obsess about it, but the things I found to reduce cellulite, at least to keep it at a normal level of harmless state, is to just move around. Like, physical activity is literally the cure for it. So it's not really something you need to obsess over, but it's basically just your body's way of saying, hey, move around a little. Going back to the cellulitis, one of the symptoms of cellulitis is skin dimpling, which is literally the definition of cellulite. So that's kind of why I thought maybe that is what they were saying on the site, even though they didn't actually like say, yes, this actually causes the other. So I thought, because in that case, why not just better be safe than sorry and just don't let it get out of hand? Extreme cellulitis can develop quickly and lead to serious consequences. So just because it's not bad right now doesn't mean it's not going to get bad or potentially like kill you. Because the three things I found that the super serious cellulitis can cause: infective endocarditis, which is infection of the endocardium, which is the tissue lining your heart chambers, and that's really, you don't want to fuck with your heart.
So the message is very clear that whatever cellulite is, we should be spending a whole lot of time and energy and money trying to get rid of it.
Just because you decided, oh, I don't want to give into the diet industry and give them the time of day about my cellulite, so then you end up like, if you had no physical activity and then you decided, whatever, my cellulite is fine, and then it got worse and worse and worse because you decided you didn't want to stop eating either or eat healthier or whatever. Really? And then it affects your heart? That's what you want? Extreme cellulitis can also lead to kidney infection. Kidney infection is no joke, because I've seen where the kidneys are the first to fail once somebody's really, really unhealthy, and then like kidneys failing is sort of the first sign to a full system organ shutdown. Probably a good idea to keep your kidneys healthy. Extreme cellulitis can also lead to infected lymph node because of the edematous cellulite, because it's literally about lack of drainage. Lymphedemas and stuff like that have excessive fluid retention and all of that. So if those get infected, that's not great. Anyway, that's the boring scientific part of cellulite stuff that I figured out. But like, going back to like just the fluffy part of it, where it's like your appearance and stuff, and like worrying about, you know, how your legs look in shorts and all that kind of stuff. Like,
cellulite as a flaw is an invention of the diet industry.
I understand what Bodyposipanda is saying about not obsessing over it and not buying all the creams and massages and doing all kinds of weird stuff to your legs, because clearly a lot of that is just companies trying to sell you products that you don't need. So in that sense, I do agree with her, but I don't like how she seems to say that it's something you should just completely ignore because it's not a problem area. And like,
flaws and problem areas are things that have been invented by the biggest industries in the world to make us believe that our bodies are a problem so that they can make money from us. It's as simple as that.
I think that people take the problem area thing to either extreme and they don't look at the balance in the middle, because I am somebody who likes to try to stay as fit as I can. I don't obsess over it as far as like, if I don't meet this goal in 5 minutes, I'm going to be upset. That's not how I deal with my fitness. My fitness is I have a goal, and yeah, maybe it's, hard to get, but that's why it's a goal, in my opinion. It's a challenge. It's something I can do for myself that once I get there, I'll feel really good because I worked really hard to get there.
Having cellulite does not make you any less beautiful or valuable or worthy of love and respect and acceptance.
Yes, if you have a little bit of cellulite, it's not something to obsess over. It's not something to freak out about. And yes, you can still love your body if you have cellulite, because, duh. There is no reason for you to hate anything about your body. But the problem with the problem areas getting completely ignored is that sometimes problem areas are your body's way of telling you, hey, something's not quite right here. You might want to take a look. So ignoring that just seems irresponsible to me. Like you're being irresponsible to yourself when you do that. So the balance comes in where you don't obsess about it to a point where you get angry all the time because you're not fulfilling your goals right now. But then you're also not just completely being like, nah, whatever, I don't care if I look this way or if I have this or whatever, when your body's over here like trying to be like, hey, I'm trying to give you a wake-up call, I'm trying to tell you something. So then what happens is in the middle where your body says, hey, I got something, and then you go, oh, okay, I'll work on it, and it'll take some time, and that's okay. And that's the only thing that I wanted to make sure that I said that was clear, I hope, is that you can work on said problem areas on your body without obsessing over it. You can do that without developing an eating disorder. You can work on yourself without it developing into another problem. You don't have to go from like this pendulum over here. You don't have to swing all the way over to this pendulum over here. You can just, get off the swing, basically. Get off the swing, stand in the middle, just take care of yourself without obsessing over yourself. You can do that. And it's not because it's easy, it's because that's the right way to treat your body right. Again, my name is Veronica. This channel is called I Have a Headache. And as always, be civil. Please remember that the only person that needs to accept you is you. And also, stop acting like entitled, whiny little asshole. I'll see you guys